the Conservatives are facing a general election wipeout with just 130 seats, says a polling guru. We're going to read into this more from the Independent, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with an article from The Independent with the headline that the Tories are facing general election wipeout with just 130 seats, says the polling guru. Rishi Sunak's Conservatives are looking at the worst outcome in the party's history, says the UK's top polling guru. Now, obviously, it is still just a polling. Like I've talked about, with polls, you always take things with a pinch of salt. But this is someone who has quite a bit of analysis and details into this. But like I say, you take things with a pinch of salt, is what I'll always say. There will always be people that will vote Conservative. There will always be people who will choose not to vote Labour. And there will be some people who will just choose not to vote at all because they have no hope or no care whatsoever in politics whatsoever. Obviously, the headline is quite powerful because it's saying about a general election wipeout. I think it's very much to say that I think whatever happens, obviously by the time this comes out, by the time most of you have seen this, there will be questions about whether Rishi Sunak will still be in government. Will he still be not in government? Will he still be the Prime Minister? Will there be a general election be called? Given over the whole Rwanda policy and that, and I think that's very important, just an important caveat to say in there. But I guess another question we have for ourselves is if Rishi Sunak is going to get the boot, what does this mean for... What would this mean between now and a next general election? Because they have till January 2025 is the latest that they can call they can have their general election. So, can they salvage themselves? Is the question we need to ask. And the straightforward answer is no, because at no point have they really looked to help ordinary people in any way, shape, or form. Especially the last several years, they really have kind of cut state services to the bone, not given enough money to councils, underfunded our national healthcare service, not done enough when it comes to our crumbling school buildings. The crime has gone up. Our prisons are overcrowded. The list of problems in this country: sewage. Sewage is full of brown stuff. And if you're one of those people who still thinks, after everything that we have gone through, that still thinks this has nothing to do with the Conservatives, you are completely blinded by what's going on out there. Yeah, people are screaming for a change, screaming for a difference, and I get it. Like I've said before, I get it. Criticisms of Labour and the question marks around it, and question marks around Sir Keir Starmer, and I absolutely understand that. But we can't have another 4 years of these people. We just cannot. We need a change. We need a reset. We need something different. And that doesn't mean whatsoever that I ain't going to be holding Labour's feet to the fire, because you damn bloody right I'm going to be holding them to the fire here on this channel, and so will other people be doing that for that matter. But the question, I suppose, is how much damage are they going to get at the general election? Like I've said many times in many of my videos, I have said that there is still so much can happen between now and the next general election. There is a I have predicted that I believe the gap will close. The more time passes, the more I'm thinking maybe it won't close. Now, obviously, if there's another leadership contest, and let's say hypothetically Suella Braverman becomes the Prime Minister, she's not gonna woo over voters. She's just not. She might get people who are thinking of voting Reform. I don't know why you're thinking of voting Reform, because they don't come across as a party that has good intentions for the country in any way, shape, or form. I've read some of their policies. It's not in comparison to the likes of the Green Party, in my opinion. But if you're crazy enough to vote for them, if you want to vote for them, that's your choice. It's your decision at the end of the day. But I just don't see Suella Braverman being a voice for the country. I just think someone who intends to break and shatter every single law, legislation they can, just to deport people, to try and paint this picture that everything is around immigration, that all the problems that are happening right now has to do with immigration. It is not all to do with immigration, guys. It's really important for me to stress this. It is not all about immigration, okay? Yeah, that's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that every single problem that you have in your life is because of migrants. No, it is not. Don't be stupid. Go do your homework and go do your research before jumping to conclusions like that. Yeah, it's nothing. Yeah, what's going on in your life is nothing to do with the foreign man down the road. Okay? It really isn't. It's 13 years of the same political party who have taken away your libraries, taken away your services, making things different, more, making your GP waiting times going up. And you're gonna believe them when they say it's because of COVID, it's because of war in Ukraine. It has nothing to do with Brexit. Boris is completely innocent. Yeah, what happened with Partygate? All these things, guys. Like, how many more lies are you gonna believe? So Rishi Sunak's Conservatives are facing their worst ever result to a general election and could be left with just 130 seats, according to the Professor Sir John Curtice. The country's top polling guru warned of the bleak situation faced the Conservatives as they head into winter, with the news dominated by infighting over the Prime Minister's Rwanda deportation plan. The Rwanda plan will not make an effing difference to stopping the boats. It will not make a difference whatsoever. If you are one of those people who generally think that Rwanda is going to make a difference, this whole planes on a flight to Rwanda, it's not going to make a single difference to migration in this country. Not one bit. Yeah? Please go do your homework before commenting saying that Rwanda is going to save this country. Please. Professor Curtice said Mr Sunak's party would be lucky to win many more than 200 seats and could see an even worse result if its dire poll rating continued. If these patterns were to be replicated in a general election, the outcome for the Conservatives could be bleak indeed. Maybe as few as 130 seats, the worst outcome in the party's history, he wrote for the Sunday Telegraph. The outcome would be even worse than 165 seats the Tories were left in 1997, when the party, was then led by John Major, was thumped by Tony Blair's Labour, which won a landslide 179-seat majority. With Labour enjoying a consistent polling lead close to 20 points, Professor Curtice said voters appeared to have stopped listening to the Tories on the big issues. That's because they're not doing anything about the big issues. They're not talking about those big issues. They don't want to deal with the big issues. They're not taking ownership and responsibilities of their role as a government. That's why they're not talking about them. They're not dealing with the health cost of living crisis. They're not dealing with the healthcare. They're not dealing with our crumbling schools. They're not dealing with the police services. They're not dealing with the overcrowding prison services. They're not dealing with anything except one policy. They're not even dealing with the economy. They don't care about you. They don't. They never have cared about you. He warned Mr Sunak that his recent anti-immigration push had not gone well. Yeah, of course it hasn't gone well. The election experts said it looked like the Rwanda bill could divide the party, just as Theresa May's ill-fated Brexit deal did in 2019. On the major split currently looming in response to Mr Sunak's plans, Professor Curtice wrote, "Divided parties rarely prosper at the polls. In pursuing their disagreements with Mr Sunak over immigration, Tory MPs should realise they are potentially playing with fire." He added, even though polls have repeatedly indicated that the government's Rwanda policy is relatively popular, it's not popular. It's not popular. You got information to confirm that? I've not heard or read anywhere that's saying it's popular. That's a flat out lie. At least among those who voted Conservative in 2019. Well, okay, fine. Well, the vast majority of the British public do not approve of it. The first polls since the week's development suggest they are also unlikely to move the electoral dial. He continued, "We should not be surprised, although many 2019 Conservative voters are unhappy about the level of legal and illegal immigration. There is no such thing as illegal migration. Those who feel that immigration has gone up a lot are not especially likely to say that they will not vote Conservative again. There is speculation at Westminster that Mr Sunak may be forced into a snap election in the early part of 2024 if he struggles to get his Rwanda bill through Parliament. But Cabinet Minister Michael Gove insists that Mr Sunak's government is not contemplating holding an early general election if the Rwanda bill is voted down. Asked if it was an option, the senior Sunak ally told Sky News, "No, we're not contemplating that." Well, you should do. A group of unnamed Tory MPs have told the Mail on Sunday that they would like to get rid of Mr Sunak, with some even keen to bring back Boris Johnson as a leader. Please no. That guy is a pathogen liar. No. Dubbed the Pastor Plotters, the small group of anti-Sunak MPs and strategists was said to have met in an Italian restaurant to plan an advent calendar of crap for the current Tory leader over the Rwanda issue this December. Whatever you feel about him, one thing no one can question is Mr Johnson's effectiveness as a campaigner. Oh my God. You're so stupid. Oh my God. It was all based on Brexit. It was all based on Brexit, the vast majority of it. And immigration got worse since then. Are you that thick? Oh my God. One Red Wall MP told the newspaper, but when Mr Johnson out of Parliament, the so-called pastor plotters said to be uncertain who could realistically replace Mr Sunak. Damien Green, the chair of the One Nation Ring, offered a warning to any right-wing rebels pouncing on the Rwanda issue as a way to get rid of Mr Sunak. Anyone who thinks that's what the Conservative Party or the country needs is a change in Prime Minister is either mad or malicious or both, he told BBC Sunday's Laura Queensberg. Mr Green added, it's a very, very small number doing that, plotting to oust Mr Sunak. I don't know about that. If I'm honest, guys. I really don't. I'm never going to hear the end of this, guys. I'm so sick of talking about blimmin' immigration. I really am. But just, guys, please put your heads on when thinking about what you say, guys. It really is important. We need a change. We need a change in government. We really, really do need a change. As for how Labour are going to deal with the migration, obviously we don't know what their plan is right now. And obviously people are screaming they want Labour to show their hand, and I was just like, why do they need to show their hand? And they're not the ones in government. Why do they need to show their hands? They're not the ones in government, they're not the ones in power, they've not been in charge for the last 13 years, and you can't blame Labour for what's happened in the last 13 years. And if you don't like that, tough, that's because you're refusing to look at the facts. The facts are the same political party has been in power for 13 years. There's no debating that. There's no arguing that. Don't bother trying to argue that. Yeah, Labour have been on the opposite side for 13 years. Yeah, so blaming Labour for what's happened over the last 13 years is completely nonsense as far as I'm concerned. We need a change, and we need it as quickly as possible. Now, I hope that we get a snap election, because for the sake of the countries, for the sake of the entire United Kingdom, we need a change. People are fed up of the Conservatives, and they want something different. And we need it as soon as possible. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think about a general election wipeout? Do you think it'll be that bad? Could they be left with just 130 seats? Maybe they'll be left with more. Maybe they'll be left with less. There's a lot of plotting for tactical voting to ensure that the Conservatives get ousted at the next general election. Or even a snap election that could happen at any time. Let me know what you guys honestly think in the comment section down below. Hit the like button, we greatly appreciate. Share this across social media so other people are aware of it. And hit that bell notification icon so you'll be notified of when I upload another video. And if you want to financially support me, you can do so by buying me a coffee or joining me on Patreon for extra content. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.